The fate of humanity rested on the captive Jack's shoulders as the Taloric commander's boot trampled his ribs, eliciting laughter from the aliens mocking the captive. Blood pooled on the ground as Jack lay still, memorizing positions, assessing technology, while never losing the determined glint in his eyes. Tales of the prisoner spread through the camp, drawing curious Taloric mocking Jack's species. But one young scout, Pektha, intrigued by Jack's resilience, forged a fragile bond with the captive as Jack fueled plans for revolt. If he failed to escape soon, humankind's final flickering hopes for survival on this occupied planet would vanish. Clorga strutted over to Jack, towering over his bruised captive. The Taloric commander enjoyed parading Jack to his troops. Clorga's voice boomed. "See the might of Taloric!" The soldiers jeered Jack as he lay there hurting but focused. The Taloric planned their final attack, not knowing Jack had become more than a prisoner. He was a symbol. His resilience inspired humans, sowing doubt in the Taloric. Stories of Jack's feats grew, making him a legend. Outside the camp, humans struck Taloric supply lines, guided by Jack's messages to Pektha. The young scout sympathized with Jack and covertly coordinated the resistance. The humans didn't know Jack led them, but each victory raised their spirits. They fought harder under his guidance. Jack stayed a prisoner, but planned his bold escape. He would turn the tables at the military parade. Pektha, loyal but disillusioned, was Jack's unsuspecting ally. As the parade neared, Jack and Pektha rehearsed the plan in hushed tones. Pektha visited more, their talks turning to resistance. "We hid here," Jack whispered, pointing to the map. "Their leaders, flags, and pride, all in one place." Pektha nodded, understanding Jack's gravity of proposal. The Taloric prepared to flaunt their power, but Jack readied to shatter their illusion with precise strikes. Clorga stood proud at the parade ground's center. Jack knelt chained at his feet, pale and beaten. Clorga's armor shone under the alien sun as he reveled in his people's cheers. Row after row of Taloric soldiers marched by, stomping in time. Their armor reflected the twin suns. Hover tanks and missile carriers floated past, humming low and threatening destruction. But through the echo of marching boots and tank hums, Jack felt hidden triumph vibrate. Clorga raised his arms. His voice roared over the crowd. "We celebrate the end of the human threat!" The crowd yelled approval, drowning the soft click of Jack's thumb on his hidden transceiver. A heartbeat later, explosions ripped through the parade ground in a sequence of fire and smoke. Soldiers stumbled as the dirt and metal shards filled the air. From hidden spots, human figures charged forward. Jack saw familiar faces united for one cause. They carried no flags or uniforms but charged as one, fierce and strategic. In the chaos, Pektha shed her disguise, her armband showing the colors of human resistance. With 2 quick laser cutter strikes, she freed Jack from his chains. Freed, Jack stood tall, scanning the Taloric forces and Clorga's dawning horror. The earlier laughter now shouted confusion. Jack grabbed a dropped energy rifle, checking its charge with ease. He aimed at the Taloric warriors, firing precise and calculated shots to disarm and disable. As troops tried to regroup, Jack led the sprint toward the command platform. His comrades mirrored his resolve. They leapt into the fight, using determination to overwhelm their enemy. Clorga shouted useless orders in the din. The Taloric line crumbled under human courage and strategic genius. The platform in sight, Jack vaulted debris, his comrades behind him. They climbed the metal platform, eyes fixed ahead. Jack grabbed the Taloric flag, pulling it down as he took the front. There, amid the wreckage meant for a Taloric triumph, humanity's resilience shone through the haze. Their spirit, unbroken and fierce, signaled hope, freedom, and the will to fight for the stars. Clorga stumbled through the parade ground. His dented armor rang in his ears. His troops scrambled away in panic. Some ran for cover, Others abandoned their posts. Humans charged from the smoke with stolen energy rifles. The crackling charges were fresh. The humans moved in small squads. They struck fast and vanished before the Talaric could respond. Mason signaled to his team with hand gestures. He studied patterns and thought ahead. He sent 3 to cut off Talaric trying to regroup. Another pair set charges to blow up an ammo depot. The humans used the Talaric's habits against them. Pektha watched from a distance. He had slipped away unseen during the chaos. His Talaric uniform felt like a traitor's cloak, but seeing the humans fight stirred something in him. The attacks hit precisely. Morale was high after Jack's escape. Word spread in whispers. Tales of Jack's daring escape fueled those with nothing left to lose. They saw a chance to take back what was theirs. Pektha approached under a white flag. The humans met his eyes with suspicion. "I am Pektha. You know what I did. I can do more. I know their plans and weaknesses," he said steadily, showing no fear. The humans looked at each other. Trust didn't come easy, but Pektha's information helped. With every new detail, their strikes grew smarter. They hit where the Talaric least expected. Jack's name became a battle cry, whispered in awe. He wasn't just a man. He was the spark that ignited captive people's fury. With each fight, the Talaric's grip weakened. Humans reclaimed towns, villages, and military bases. They used captured Talaric weapons against their former masters. The counterattacks grew calculating. One night, Mason's squad infiltrated communications. Under his lead, they hacked encryptions, jammed signals, and caused chaos. They left quietly, leaving turmoil behind. The uprising spread like wildfire, unstoppable and consuming. Every freed human added to their ranks, fueled by Jack's vision, their rage, and new hope. The Talaric underestimated the humans. Now it cost them dearly. Pektha stood with the humans at a reclaimed base. He watched Jack map the next strike. Jack's eyes were hard with pain, loss, and the promise of freedom. Jack surveyed the grim but resolute faces. He nodded to Mason, who issued orders. They readied for the next wave, knowing the road ahead would be soaked in sweat and blood of the brave. For each Talaric flag torn down, a human flag rose. With every sunrise, humankind's hope for freedom grew brighter against the dark sky. Clorga's face tightened with rage. The smirk left his lips, his jaw clenched. Defeats by the humans disgraced his name. His control over his forces weakened. Talaric ships hummed over human cities. Their weapons fired, reducing buildings to rubble. The ships left cities as ashes. But on the ground, humans rallied. Where one city fell, 100 more fighters appeared. Shared loss united them. They fiercely wanted to fight back. Mason studied maps and screens with commanders. Their faces looked serious and stern. They searched for weak points in the Talaric forces. They listened to Pektha's intel. Talaric weapons needed massive energy. They tracked supply lines like veins to cut. They made plans for relentless resistance, not quick victory, slowly bleeding the enemy. Mason briefed his squads, his voice steady and quiet. Hit them where it hurts, again and again, bleed them slow. In hidden workshops, humans carefully took apart captured Talaric weapons. Their fingers analyzed alien circuits, learning, adapting. The new guns no longer looked primitive. They used Talaric energy, improved by human cleverness. Field tests showed success. Targets vanished in flashes of light. Rumors spread through the Talaric ranks. Whispers of stubborn humans who wouldn't yield. Humans who returned fire 10 times over. The Talaric grew afraid. They saw humans use Talaric weapons against them. Clorga watched the destruction from his ship, but strikes only made human spirits stronger. Jack led firmly. His commands emboldened his troops. His presence reassured them. "Hold the line," he said. "Show them who we are." On a former market battlefield, Jack's soldiers moved like shadows. Uniforms showed combat scars, but they kept moving with iron will. Talaric forces charged forward, weapons powering up. The humans waited for the right time to strike. Their new guns cut through the enemy line, blue bolts slicing. The Talaric stumbled, surprised by the balance of power. The humans didn't just defend, they reclaimed. Every Talaric flag torn down, a new human flag flew high. With each new sun, they fought with the conviction of people who knew the stars were theirs. Mason watched from the outpost. His communicator crackled with another supply convoy taken down. They were becoming more than soldiers, an endless tide. Each new fighter burned with intertwined fury and hope. The humans didn't fight to survive. They fought for impossible victory. Together, their defiance became their strongest weapon. Sweat soaked Mason's face as he stared at the screen, stunned. A massive Talaric armada, much larger than they had ever fought, was coming to wipe out mankind. The leaders in the room shared his despair. "We can't beat that," one leader muttered in defeat. Mason slammed his fist on the table, shaking them alert. "No, we adapt and fight smarter, like we always do." They leaned in, grabbed by his resolve. Right now, belief mattered more than fancy words. A plan formed in Mason's mind. They wouldn't meet the Talaric head-on, but use their own power against them. Mason pointed at the hacked comm relay. "We control their network now. We send them running in circles, turn their forces against each other." The others nodded, determination in their eyes. Pektha had listened by the door, still wearing his old Talaric uniform. He knew their protocols better than any human here. It was time to use that knowledge. "Let me handle the messages," Pektha said. "I can talk like them. They'll believe the lies." Quick and quiet, the human saboteurs geared up, faces smeared with dirt, eyes fixed with purpose. They slid through the shadows to the relay, working wires and rigging the tech to flood Talaric channels with confusion. Pektha sat at the console, typing out streams of forged orders to dupe the approaching armada. The Talaric fleet neared the planet, sure of quick triumph. But cunning human engineering had laid a trap. Crossed signals sent Talaric ships far off course, their comms chaotic with contradictory commands. "Now!" Jack yelled from cover. Human fighters burst from debris, ambushing the confused Talaric ships. Hacked drones, once belonging to the enemy, swarmed in with lethal speed. Decoys rigged to explode spiraled into the Talaric formation, detonating in blinding, deafening eruptions of catastrophic damage. Jack broke cover, leading the charge, his salvaged rifle blazing as he directed the chaos. From the planet, the human fleet ignited engines and rushed the staggering Talaric ships with unexpected fury. Amidst the bedlam of ship-to-ship war, Talaric squadrons fractured, unready for an enemy they had underestimated. Mason watched sternly, as each exploded Talaric ship showed their refusal to vanish quietly into the void. As Talaric forces unraveled, human fighters closed in, acting not just for survival, but for the essence of freedom itself. Their resolve crystallized in the flames of war. Jack rallied them on, his voice the battle cry in this high-risk gambit to reclaim their home among the stars, the ground clouded with dust. Mason and his soldiers moved through the shadows near the Talaric base. Their boots left marks in the dirt. Mason used hand signals to lead his team. They understood and passed them along the line. Pektha, once Talaric, but now a human ally, pointed to a closed hatch. He gave Mason a stolen code piece. Mason used it to open the hatch. It slid open with a quiet hiss. The team went inside, with Pektha watching the sky battles behind them. Inside, the air buzzed from the planet's defense cannons. The humans split into pairs. They hid behind crates and panels. They moved fast and quiet. Mason and a soldier reached the main controls. The soldier pulled out wires and set explosives. Maison watched and counted down. "Not yet," Mason whispered sharply. "Wait for my signal." Down the hall, two humans had their backs to the wall. They watched guards pass, unaware. The aliens scanned around, chatting with confidence and distraction. Jack slipped next to a cannon, his face dirt-smudged. His hands unraveled wires from a bomb. His partner nodded at the ticking countdown and smiled tightly, united in action and understanding. The Telluric didn't expect the human fury. The explosions and determination shocked them. 3, 2, 1. Mason dropped his hand. Charges blew together. Cannons erupted into fireballs, once spelling doom, but now just flaming ruins. The ground shook. Through the smoke, Jack yelled, "Move out!" More than a soldier, he embodied human will. Inspired, the humans charged. They flowed like a current, taking over cannons and rooms with bold skill. Each silent cannon brought a cheer, a shared victory, sound deeper than chants. Above, ships broke ranks against human defiance. Below, Mason watched another cannon go dark, its threat gone from human grit. Pectha stood with Mason, nodding silently, his allegiance clear. Human and former Telluric, together witnessing reclamation and crumbling chains that once bound their world. "Press the attack!" Jack aimed a reclaimed blaster. His squad moved with him, relentless like human resilience. The ground mirrored the space chaos, a testament to human daring and grit. With every fallen cannon, victory grew louder, promising freedom and sovereignty in their home space. In the tight cockpit, Mason stared at the console. Lights blinked as the shuttle flew through debris towards the Telluric ship. The others checked gear and weapons. Straps clicked, guns clacked. Mason squeezed the paper. Pectha piloted the stealth shuttle, fingers tapping controls. His old uniform hung loose as he checked the screen and nodded to Jack. "They won't expect us," he muttered. Jack grunted, scanning the team in their dented, scorched armor. They landed silently in the hangar. The doors opened with a quiet hiss. Jack stepped out, Mason behind him. Shadows filled the maze of ships. Following the stolen blueprints in his head, Pectha led them through twisting corridors, the ship's guts. He stopped at corners, listened, crept on. A guard appeared. Jack grabbed his throat, squeezed. The body slumped. No alarms, no cries. They moved on. The command room's thick door loomed ahead. Mason crouched by the panel. Pectha entered a code. It clicked open. Inside, the Telluric elite stood ready, armor shining. Jack's team rushed in. Bullets and blasts filled the air. Screams mixed with gunfire. Soldiers fell but fought fiercely. Mason's gun clicked empty. He threw it and tackled a charging alien. They slammed together, human against alien strength. Clorga bellowed orders but looked at Mason. Their fight began, fists against claws. Clorga struck heavy. Mason dodged, weaved, surviving. His blows echoed humanity's struggle. Around them, the battle continued. The commandos held ground, attacking as Mason fought Clorga. With a final jab, Clorga staggered. Mason grabbed a rifle and fired. Clorga's eyes widened, then darkened. His body fell with a thud. Silence took the command room. Jack's team secured the area, weighed by their actions. Beside Mason, Pectha watched the body, chest heaving. "We did it," Jack breathed, looking over his team, his voice heavy. They had taken the command center, shattering the Telluric reign. This hard-fought moment marked a turning point, freedom surging through the stars. The news of Clorga's death spread fast through the Telluric ranks. Soldiers stood in shock, guns going limp in their hands. They whispered to each other, shuffled around. Their great leader had fallen. The humans exploded in cheers when they heard, "We'd killed their warlord." The Telluric saw this, and fear filled their hearts. We rallied fast across the planet. In cities under occupation, The resistance grew. Jack's victories lit a fire in humans. The tide had turned. Our time had come. Pektha stood by Jack's side, the human and alien fighting together. Stories flew about how they'd crossed enemy lines. Their bond in battle hinted at more. Hope. Our forces pushed ahead. A stronghold fell. People tore down Talaric flags in the streets, cheers bouncing off walls. We took back what was ours. City by city, we freed our home. The Talaric retreated, their lines gone. Guns dropped as they surrendered, begging for mercy they never gave. We remembered our humanity and showed it. Celebration broke out where Talaric boots once stomped. Our flags rose over ruins. The pain ran deep, the loss real, but so did the joy. We came through the darkness. The light shone on us now. In the end, Jack climbed the broken ship remains. His feet crunched on metal. He tore down their burnt emblem. Chest heaving, he stood tall. Not just a soldier or hero. A symbol. He looked up into space, a spark in his eyes. We stood with him, tested but unbroken. Jack showed us the way. Together with Pektha, we proved that courage was our banner. We fought for our home, our stars. In that fight, we found our strength. Dust blanketed the bombed-out streets as Jack walked through the wreckage left by the Talaric. He stood in the city square, watching kids play and workers rebuild. Hammers pounded and saws buzzed as they erected new structures from the rubble. Jack looked up at the clear sky, free of enemy ships. He rolled his shoulders, feeling the weight of the war and hope for the future. Other soldiers gathered around a stone table studying maps. Jack pointed out supply routes and shelters in a steady, focused voice. He showed no signs of his bone-deep fatigue. On the edge of the square, Pektha watched the humans rebuild. The Talaric wore simple clothes instead of his old uniform. His eyes met Jack's in an unspoken understanding. He approached with a datapad, sharing ideas to improve their energy grid. A little girl tugged Jack's sleeve, holding up a handmade toy version of him with a tiny rifle. She smiled brightly as Jack gently took the toy and nodded thanks. The girl ran off as Jack watched, her easy grin a symbol of his legacy. On a big screen, news flashed about human resistance now told as awe-inspiring legends. The battle cry, "Aliens laugh at captured human soldier, live to regret it," blazed, speaking to Earth's defiance. As evening fell, the square filled with people lit by the warm glow of lanterns. Jack stood steady among them, his presence reassuring. "We rebuild not just for now, but the future," he said. "Together, we rise." Lights flickered on through the city, each one a life, a home, a dream rebuilt. Jack saw the resilience on every face reflecting back the light. The bond between him and Pektha shone in their shared space and people's hearts. In shadowy corners, techs combined Talaric and human tech, opening interstellar channels and tearing down barriers. Every innovation carried the fire from the uprising, human ingenuity rising from adversity. Humanity had fought, bled, but never broken. Stars dotted the sky as the world buzzed with life and resolve. Jack Mason, forever a legend, stood not as a relic, but a beacon of the human spirit's refusal to yield. Once the enemy, Pektha now broke bread with those he fought, his role in their freedom honored. Together they carved a path to coexistence, proving unity possible after division. Activity hummed on into the deep night, a symphony of effort and hope. Humanity's flag waved gently overhead, reclaiming identity and sovereignty once underestimated, but now ready to face the stars as equals, their legacy one of strength and courage enduring.